Will we be the filtered or the filtrate? This is the Great Filter.
Today, we know that intrinsic motivation is a real thing and that it is really important. Self-directed exploration and play are primary drivers of human learning and development. Our curiosity, more than anything else, is what promotes deep and lasting learning, not the grades nor the praises we receive. Kennon M. Sheldon. A quick note on Dr. Sheldon. He has two books out. One is The Self-Determination Theory in the Clinic, and the other is The Optimal Human Being. Both books are incredibly fascinating. They're both incredibly insightful. I would highly recommend either or both if you are interested in that subject, which if you are interested in what it takes to self-motivate and become your best self, I suspect they would both be something you might be interested in taking a look at. I have had the amazing good fortune and pleasure of having had some few conversations with Dr. Sheldon, and he is just a profoundly optimistic person when it comes to, humanity's capacity and capabilities, and he's just been an incredible inspiration to me professionally. Okay, so with this episode, I wanted to kind of do something a little different. It's incredibly easy to point out flaws, to point out the things that we're doing wrong. To not only is it easy, but the things that we're doing right often go unnoticed because there is no big monstrous problem to draw your attention from, whatever else. I didn't start the Great Filter because I think humanity is hopeless. I started the Great Filter because I'm extremely concerned about humanity's future and about the direction that we are headed as a species. And while this Western individualist mindset, this kind of industrial, better, faster, cheaper sort of mentality has catapulted us into the age that we are now, into this technological, age of marvels and wonders. It doesn't mean that it's good for that mentality to continue. If we are just bulldozing ahead at these just fucking ridiculously, unfathomably fast speeds, we are going to hit either a brick wall or our energy is going to fizzle out. There are limited resources on the planet. That is a fact. It's not a ball of infinite matter. We literally only have so much so much energy we can extract and material that we can extract from our own planet. It's sorry for laughing, it's not funny. It just makes me chuckle because it's one of those things. No, it's frustrating because it's not something people really recognize easily. The idea that our attitude is unsustainable. That's not a concept that we have, tuned ourselves to be capable of really processing in the way that it needs to be processed. So for this episode, right, your best possible self. What does that mean? What does it mean for you to be your best possible self? Well, you have to imagine humanity as if we are, a piece of chainmail. Okay, every single human is one little link in this giant mesh of human chainmail. You being your best possible self means that you are the best possible, strongest link for the position that you are in. So we're going to go over 5 attributes, like 5 scientifically verified, valid, studied for the past, 50, 60 years attributes that are necessary in order for people to become their best possible selves. As we've discussed previously, you need your environment to be conducive to that. Every single one of us, if we are to be our best possible selves, as in our absolute best possible self, we need an environment that caters to that, that nurtures that, that supports that. And unfortunately, that is not something that a lot of us have. Many of our situations don't allow for that sort of acceleration into becoming the best you. That all aside, these 5 attributes, and I'll just name them off really quickly: nutrition, exercise, meditation, education, and altruism. In order, right? If you handle these in order, and we're going to go over each one in a little bit more depth, if you handle these in order, each next attribute builds on the previous attribute. It's almost like for you to reach the apex of any one attribute, you have to first kind of reach the apex of its predecessor. Okay, so before we dig into these 5 attributes, okay, these 5 stepping stones or whatever you want to call them, before we really kind of dig into this, there are just simply a few central core concepts that we just need to understand as a species, that as a world, we need to finally wrap our fucking minds around this. And it's not a few, it's just one. It's just one central idea. And that is that we are all one. Sure, we may feel like we are individuals, but biologically, we are, by definition, just a step away from a superorganism. A superorganism, like bees, are a superorganism. Ants are a superorganism. Superorganisms are a group of organisms of the same species that have a division of labor, right? Each organism specializes in one job or another, okay? And by definition, it states that a single organism of that species cannot live for any extended period of time away from the collective. They will die. They are incapable of surviving on their own for an extended period of time. It's that one single point that makes it so we cannot put humanity under the umbrella of what is a superorganism, which is, man, I don't know. I feel like that affects us in a certain way. Like it makes us feel like we are not a collective, that we don't have any sort of special, unique social bonding and properties that are, vital to our survival, when in fact we do. Just because we can't, or just because we are capable of leaving the collective as an individual and surviving for an extended period of time, does not mean that we don't mostly have all the traits of a superorganism. And if you've listened to a couple previous episodes, I believe, 1 or 2, I've mentioned the concept of a Supraorganism Optima. That's just my attempt at giving humanity a superorganism-like umbrella. And the only difference between a superorganism and a Supraorganism Optima is that, like I said, with a superorganism, one unit or one member of the collective can't survive on its own. With the Supraorganism Optima, one member of the collective can't self-actualize without the collective. They can't, optimize, right? Supraorganism Optima. It simply comes down to this. You cannot optimize as a human being by yourself. We are social creatures. We literally need the input, experience, products, services of other people to optimize as an individual. And you cannot give back to the community without first having optimized, or at least you cannot give back optimally. You cannot really give back to the community unless you're truly an optimized individual. So if you really think about humanity as one single organism, the only real difference is that we each have our own cognition. We each have a sense of self, right? I mean, evolutionarily, the way we interact with each other, the way we function together, it's as if we were a single organism. And that's how evolution has sort of shaped us. We just need to accept that. We just need to accept that you cannot survive mentally, really, on your own. You cannot become your best self on your own. It's virtually impossible. You simply cannot do it. You need me. I need you. That's the fucking facts. That is just how it is. There's no other way around it. Unless you augment yourself with some fucking alien technology and you can do everything yourself, you need to accept that as a fact. And the fact that we don't accept it is where most of our problems come from. The fact that you think you're you and I think I'm me and I need to get paid for all the work that I do because it's more important than you, because I work harder than you and you're not as important as I am, blah, 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 blah. Like, this mentality, it does nothing for us. It does nothing but just drive us into stupidity and into self-destructive behaviors. Anyway, I'm done with that rant. Okay, so let's get on to how we, as individuals, right, can do what we can do, what is within our control to become the best us. Because when one person starts on that path, when one person starts to optimize, starts to self-actualize, they influence those around them. If we're going to change, it needs to come from within. It needs to come from the fundamental component. There is no law, there is no regulation, there is no globally sweeping change that you can just implement to shift everything. The change has to ultimately come from within each individual, because we are a giant sheet of living chainmail. And we have so many broken spots and weak links, and we have entire areas where we've all just sort of rejected that entire section of the chainmail. If we were functionally, vitally interconnected, as in, if we really were part of the same organism, it would be dead. It would have been dead long ago. There's no possible way an organism where, 25% of its body mass is malfunctioning or dying or can't get enough food or can't get what it needs to optimize. There's no possible way an organism could live like that. I mean, seriously, you can't reject 25% of your... It doesn't matter what you're talking about. 25% is a fucking lot. It's an entire leg, or half your gut, or half of your chest and one of your arms. 25% is no joke. That is that is a lethal loss. You can't. The fact that we've been able to is not really a fact. We haven't been able to, and it shows so vividly, and it's so terrifying that we haven't looked at this and clicked into gear like, oh, shit, 25% of us are really in trouble. That's going to affect all of us. We need to do something about this because we are one. Yeah. Okay, now I'm done with that rant. Let's get into this. Okay, nutrition. We have a bit of a... Nutrition is one of the tougher ones. I mean, I understand. I get this. It really is difficult. But it's easier than you've been led to believe. So let me explain. Buying nutritious food can be expensive, yes, but here's kind of the give and take of the whole thing. The more nutritious you eat, the less you are hungry. The more good food you fill your body with, the less you want to just eat and eat and eat and eat. The reason you eat so much crap food, if you do, right, is because you're not getting the nutrients you need. Look, dude, I'm 230 pounds. Okay, I'm in okay shape. I could be in better shape, right? But I eat as healthy as I can. I eat greens every day. I eat a little bit of bacon every day. I don't eat anything processed. I just eat apples and pears and whatever else. I don't eat a lot, and I don't lose body weight. I'm totally stable, and I really don't eat a lot every day. You know, I'll have like an apple with some peanut butter for lunch, and then a little bit of fish with a small salad for dinner, and a few strips of bacon, and I'll just wrap up, you know, a bunch of spinach leaves. Like, it's not a lot of food, but I also don't need a lot because I eat right. I eat healthy. My body can sustain itself on just the richness of the nutrition of the food that I eat. Now, nutrition is a tricky topic because I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what you need to eat, but go to a nutritionist. You know, even if you're financially having a really hard time, you can find like specialist clinics and stuff that have nutritionists in them that you can go and talk to. You can jump online on forums, whatever you need to do to break the habit of eating poorly, because you are part of the system. You are just as important as I am, as my neighbor is, as, you know, dude in next country over doing whatever. Like, we are all important. I want you to be just as healthy as I am. Because here's the thing. When your body is healthy, or when you are trying to be as healthy as possible, every now and then somebody gets hit with something serious and my heart goes out to you. But even in that kind of a situation, especially in that kind of a situation, you need to eat optimally. There is no physical ailment where the doctor's going to say, oh, you need to start eating candy bars and Doritos because that's the only way you're going to get through this. There's not one fucking sickness or ailment that a doctor's going to say that about. There's not. Ever. There never will be. The way you eat influences everything. Everything. From how clear your thought is, to how quickly your body heals, to how fast you can run, to how much you can do in a day, to how good you feel, to your mood, to your, if you've got depression or ADHD, it's good nutrition that mitigates all those negative side effects and all those problematic things that are frustrating to deal with. So if you're going to do what you need to do to be your best self, you need to start with a foundation. And that foundation is, without question, nutrition. Next level up is exercise. good exercise does so much, and you don't need a lot of that either. Like, you don't, man. Again, I'm not a doctor, okay? But I read the research a lot, probably more than I should. But here's the thing. If you exercised, and it doesn't have to be a lot, like 20 minutes a day, just go for a walk around the block. Make sure you spend a good 20 minutes. Make sure you get your heart rate. You don't have to get it throbbing in there, just get it up. Go for a walk around the block. Come back. Your mood will elevate. Like, not just at the end of the walk, but it will get to the point where it is consistently elevated throughout the day. You will just feel better all the time. It helps with ADHD symptoms. It helps with depression. It helps with anxiety. It helps with, what doesn't it help with, right? Plus, it helps your body be healthy. It helps with healing. It helps with circulation. It helps with clarity of thought. It helps with problem solving. Like, the nutrition and exercise are like almost magic bullets. And it's fucking crazy how little people get this. I recommend looking at the research. Okay, I'm just giving you a quick overview of what anybody can do, and what anybody really should be doing to be their best selves. Okay, so that's nutrition and exercise. Next comes meditation. Okay, meditation does so much for your mind. And just like nutrition and just like exercise, it mitigates ADHD symptoms. It mitigates depression and anxiety. It helps you control your mind to a degree that most people don't even know is possible. For real. Most people don't even understand what meditation is. If I were to recommend one book, there's a little bit of woo in this book, but just the first step in the book, if everybody just mastered the first step in this book, our world would be fundamentally changed, like completely a different place. You have no idea. It is called Initiation into Hermetics by Franz Bardon. Yeah, it goes into spiritual stuff and woo sort of things, but the meditations in this book have so completely changed my life personally, and they also turn out to be the meditations that, when studied in the laboratory, have the most pronounced and profound effect on people. That it's a good place to start, okay? You don't need to master everything in the book. Just take a look at the first step. It's literally called the first step. You don't have to do all the physical stuff or anything, just the meditation part, okay? There's 3 meditations, and I can promise you, if every human on the planet mastered those 3 meditations, it can take somebody up to a year to do it, and that's fine. You're just laying down 10 to 20 minutes every day, like 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night. But if everybody in the world mastered those 3 meditations, it would be such a completely different story. I don't even know if we can conceive of what the world would be like with everybody's minds operating like that. Until it happens, if it happens, right? So, yeah, okay. Nutrition for your foundation. Exercise. And even if you have some sort of condition that makes it difficult to exercise, there's got to be something, And again, ask your doctor. Sometimes it's not recommended to do anything too intense. So just pass it by your physician. Then meditation to get the mind up there. Then self-education. In the connected world that we live in, with at least most people having some sort of access to the internet. If you don't have access to the internet, you definitely have access to some sort of library or information repository, or you can send away for books. But self-education is not just important for keeping your mind sharp, but it's important for keeping you aware of how the world works, the knowledge that we possess as a collective, what we can do, what we know, the things we understand about the universe and the world that we live in. So, personally, I am not selling these guys, okay? I'm just telling you what I do. You can do whatever you want. I use YouTube a lot. I'm a software engineer, right? So I use YouTube as a reference a lot. I also consistently take classes through Wondrium. They used to be the Great Courses Plus. They just recently changed to Wondrium. I don't know. Weird. Yeah, but whatever. But they have so much good content. College professors that are experts in their fields, teaching full university lectures that you can just watch online. Who cares if you get a degree? Dude, I've probably got like PhDs worth of knowledge just from Wondrium alone. There's Wikipedia. There's all sorts of stuff, and you can literally give yourself an Ivy League level college education just by poking around a little bit, finding the right lectures. MIT has calculus lectures. They've got psychology. They've got sociology. They have behavioral psychology. They have genetics. They've got courses on robotics. I mean, all on YouTube. And on their website too, Harvard, Stanford, they all do this. OpenCourseWare, right? MIT's OpenCourseWare. It's available to anybody who can tap into the internet. You just have to set a schedule for yourself. You just have to make sure that between this time and this time, you're zoning in. You're taking one of the courses, and it can take time, right? But I mean, again, I'm telling you, I've taught myself linear algebra. I've taught myself calculus. I've taught myself differential equations. I've taught myself, I don't even know. I've taught myself machine learning and artificial intelligence. I've completely taught myself programming. I actually dropped out of college because I kept bumping heads with my professors because, stupid young kid brain. But that aside, I have completely taught myself everything that I know. Psychology, sociology, whatever, dude. I love it. You get to understand how things really work. It's an amazing world out there. I mean, that's why I was able to even have a basis to start my research on, was because I just am, whatever. I love it all. Psychology is so fascinating to me. And it just so happened that, psychology and economics were two things I was studying at one time. And I had this one idea in my head, and all of a sudden I had, an idea for something to investigate. Anybody can do it. You just need to be strict with yourself, have a schedule, set aside some time, and then just do it, right? That's all you have to do. You just have to do it. Okay, so self-education. Let's move on to altruism. And this is something I need to be better at, like bad. I really need to be a better person with going out and interacting with people face to face and just doing something kind to somebody I don't even know without any expectations of getting anything back. But the fact of the matter is that the science tells us that when you do engage in these charitable behaviors, that your appreciation for reality and life and humanity and the world around us goes up. Do things for people that you don't expect anything in return for. Do things for people that don't know who you are. Do things for people that will never see your face again. And walk away without ever expecting a thank you. just knowing that you did something for another member of your species, for another cell in the human Supraorganism Optima. Do something to lift somebody else up. Not just because research shows that it elevates your appreciation for the world around you, but because you know that they are another node in this massive global network of humans in the human Supraorganism Optima that needs you, and that you understand that we all need each other. And if you care about humanity at all on any level, the least you can do is do something for one of those pieces of our human chainmail that's a little run down, that's a little broken, that needs a little help getting back on their feet. It doesn't matter if they're junking out and shooting up on the corner. It just matters that you do something kind for somebody else and not expect anything in return. Okay. I think that about wraps it up. So seriously, 5 things, and they each build on the previous one. Going up these steps, taking care of one at a time, gives you the power to activate and, I guess, engage the next step. Like, if you're not eating nutritiously, if you're not eating food that's good for your body, trying to start exercising is dumb. It's not going to work. It's going to still leave you exhausted and feeling shitty. If you're not exercising and taking care of your body, trying to meditate is like, I don't know, trying to inflate a boat with an air pump that has a leak in it, kind of, maybe. I mean, that's probably the best comparison I can think of right now. And then trying to self-educate, really, when you don't have a handle on your mind and you really don't know how to control your thoughts yet. Yeah, sure, you can learn things because people do. But do you want to just kind of learn things, or do you want to really be able to understand the information, really grasp it, and really extract it like utility, like these pieces of information are literal tools that you can connect to each other and, manipulate each other with and create even larger devices with, like mental devices that can do even more. That's what information is. That's what education is. That's what creativity is. Meditation just kicks creativity into gear, and you're not going to be able to really use it to its full potential when you're not eating right and you're not exercising and you're not meditating. That education it's pretty baseline. It's just kind of learning things here and there that whatever. When you amp your mind up and you take hold of the processes and how it works, and you understand your mind in the way that meditation allows you to, education is an entirely new world. And last but not least, altruism. This is where once you are the strongest link you can be, it's time to go out and strengthen the other links that need your help. How much simpler can it be relayed? Be the change you want to see. That's that. So I want to thank you for listening, and I just want to say I really do think we can pull out of this, but we need to activate. We need to do it. We need to engage the problem, and I'm not talking about stopping pollution and whatever. We need to engage the problem of the majority of us not seeing that we are all one. In a very literal and real sense, we are all one. And until we get out of this mental rut that the individuals have found themselves in, we're not going to pull out of this. So, I don't know. Let's do what we need to do to make sure everybody sees this and everybody gets it. Like, that light clicks on. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for listening. I will see you guys next time. Bye. In the interest of transparency, the Great Filter Podcast is a PhobosTech production. All proceeds go to funding the STEM Theory Research Project and other PhobosTech research endeavors. If you enjoyed this episode, please show your support by sharing, liking, and subscribing. You may also help support our efforts with a small monthly donation. Thanks.